Yeah, what's good, people? Apollo back. Just wanted to run through my thoughts about the Will Smith video with Joyner, and I love the fact that he was able to come out and do this because so many people in the 80s and the 90s didn't kind of realize how black music and rap had affected not just where you were from, but being commercial and socially as well. So it was easy for the days of Busta Rhymes and DMX. You know, a lot of white people were buying black music those days. So in order for them to sort of understand the commercialism, it was very easy. But with Will Smith, in the 80s, it wasn't really seen as hip hop being commercial because it was known to be, you know, kind of a cult type of music that was only recognized by the streets and it wasn't really recognized by the mainstream. And he was one of the first mainstream rappers to go as a commercial type of name and then sell 60 million records. And he didn't do that just because of the black community. He sold it because his music was renowned by everybody in the world. So that's a lot of reason why also that some of the rappers have given him stick because, you know, his music was for everybody. It wasn't just for the streets. So when he comes hitting hard like he did in Joyner's video, it kind of, you know, I don't hear those black rappers who have been hating on him. I don't hear them right now. They're not saying nothing. Those guys are quiet. They hear the lyrics. They hear where he's coming from, and it's humbled them. And for me, that's like a sign of respect. Yeah, a lot of people have come out, especially a lot of Americans. I mean, this is a reaction from a Brit right now, so it's kind of from a different perspective. But the laws and the extremes still apply about how we feel this goes down. So here's just my take on it now anyway. So listen, let's roll, man. Let's roll. Production on this is lit. Production on this is proper lit. So on that one, what we're really looking at is the fact that he's talking about he didn't have an Uncle Phil and he had to grow up with all these bills and he didn't really have an inspirational father figure. And most of you guys know actually this alludes to the video that he did in 2017, which was, I believe it was called Forever. The track was called Forever. And it was really talking about how a father is, you know, doesn't want to have any kids and has asked the woman to have an abortion and things like that. And it's really just about the chorus on that song was, you know, I know you don't understand my words, but you will eventually, and the older you'll get, I hope this you won't hold this shit against me. And that is just really about the decisions that young fathers make in their lives that impacts the growth of their children. And he was just alluding to the fact that if he had an Uncle Phil and he had that type of inspirational wisdom around him, that the decisions would have been different along the generations as well as himself. So, you know, that's what a lot of people don't really talk about that intro, but it really just goes back to the song itself. So listen, let's roll. I'm loaded with bills, cause I wasn't blessed with no Uncle Phil. Don't know how it feels. I wanted to flex, they told me to chill. I'm making a flip. My life is a flip, now load up the flip. Yeah. You feeling like me? I feel like a prince that turned to a king. Found me a queen. Started a family and got me a team. Listen, that line right there, it really talks about him being a prince, but now he's a king. So he's elevated himself as a black man to that level. And then he talks about Jada being his queen. So it's almost like he's left that Fresh Prince persona behind and achieved what he has in life. You know, Fresh Prince, he's known as a Fresh Prince. But now he believes he's arrived as a king. And that is really important that he starts his sentence with that, because he's telling Joyner, look, bro, I know I'm an inspiration to you, but within myself, I feel I've aspired within myself to achieve the status of a king. Yeah? No monarchy in terms of the video or meaning or anything like that. He's just talking about his self-goals and his self-worth. So that's really important in that part. Found me a queen, started a family and got me a team. On top of my dreams, Joyner, I know you inspired by me, like I was inspired by Nelson Mandela. I give him a rose for every endeavor. A shout out to Julius Irving.
One of the legends I worship.
So Julius Erving, you guys know Julius Erving, Dr. J, Philadelphia native, as well as Will. And Will's actually the same age as me. I'm 6 months older than him. He was born in '68. So Will's alluding to the fact that they won a championship in '83, an NBA championship. And a lot of that had to do with, him talking about Mandela and his heroes and who inspired him. And Dr. J was big at that point. Later on, he alludes to the fact that he wouldn't be Willie if it wasn't for Philly. And that's just, again, him paying homage to his hometown. Let's roll it, man.
One of the legends I worship. Muhammad Ali put to work and he was the champ, the greatest, he earned it. I love that you think that I'm perfect, but I had plenty mistakes and burdens. My grandmama thought I was worth it. She always guided me when I was searching.
Boys, this is just the realest. This is the realest. He knows that Joyner's looked at him as this black man and someone who to aspire to, but he's grounding himself right now and saying, look, I've had plenty of mistakes. I've had burdens that I've had to carry on my shoulders. And even the way the black community was treating him because of his music going commercial, he was taking that on the nose. Backlash or any doubts within his own ability to provide entertainment to people. He just brushed it off. All that hate he was getting from the black community, he was still inspiring himself to become a commercial success and earn that money. Because listen, no one is going to benefit from that except for him and his family. And that was a really strong line in terms of, he's made some mistakes. Because I'm wondering actually, in the way that he says that, does he have some kind of regret of not keeping it real? I don't think so with certain things that he's done. And maybe he feels he could have given back to the black community a little bit more for the fact that he's saying he's made these mistakes and whatever, but he's taken it on the chin and he's moved on. Let's roll it, man.
He was the champ, the greatest, he earned it. I love that you think that I'm perfect, but I had plenty mistakes and burdens. My grandmama thought I was worth it. She always guided me when I was searching. I wouldn't be me if it wasn't for her. I wouldn't be Willie. I couldn't be me if there wasn't no Eddie. I wouldn't be Will if I wasn't from Philly. Ain't nothing much that you really can tell me.
So I'm going to stop that there. So for you guys, as you know, he said it wouldn't be me if it wasn't for Eddie, or if there was no Eddie. And as you guys knows, on the filming of Bad Boys, the latest installment, he was met by Eddie Murphy, who he respects wholeheartedly. It was he was there in his acceptance speech. I think it was the Mark Twain Prize winners were given the honor. And him and Eddie, on the set of the movie, met up with each other, and he was telling Eddie how much of his inspiration he was in the 80s growing up as a young black man, a rapper, a comedian, a actor who wanted to aspire to. And so he's throwing Eddie's name in there as well. And all this guy's doing, I mean, we're talking about paying homage, throwing roses, and everybody gets a rose. And he's throwing them out and recognizing all the black people who has inspired him to be the man that he is today.
I wouldn't be me if it wasn't for her. I wouldn't be Willie. I couldn't be me if there wasn't no Eddie. I wouldn't be Will if I wasn't from Philly. Ain't nothing much that you really can tell me. Willie been cold since Benny and Jerry. Must have forgot that I really get busy. They done forgot who invented get jiggy. Hey, back before there was streaming sales, way before all the iTunes and the fans had to get CDs still. 60 million.
See, those days, guys, when you were successful as a rapper or singer, you had to sell music because there was no downloads. There wasn't really there wasn't an internet age where everybody can, before Napster, before iTunes, before everybody started downloading stuff. In order for you to make money, you had to do it on the real. Yeah, there was no half stepping or no faking it or no YouTube where you can make a tune and you get 20 million views and monetized and all that stuff. There was none of that. So in order for you to make that 60 million record sales, in order for you to do that, you had to do it on the real. So it's nice that he's paying homage there, man.
Sales way before all the iTunes and the fans had to get CDs still. 60 million records sold, I was on fire. I ain't even need a grill. Did it all with no cuss words. I ain't had to curse just to keep it real. Me and Jazz in the late 80s, writing rhymes, making tapes daily. Fresh Prince make the waves crazy. Rest in peace to James Avery.
Whoa, now rest in peace and James Avery. Now, guys, you remember this scene? I was talking to my son Casey about it the other day. This scene where he makes references to James Avery, and the scene that we see is where Will's supposed to be going with his father, and his father's making an excuse as to say he doesn't, he's going to have to leave again. And we all know that Will's father ain't coming back. And it was one of the most emotional, passionate scenes, in fact, of the whole series. I remember when Phil said to him, I didn't run out on my family. I was there every day because that's what a man does. And Will's not supposed to be there for you. You're supposed to be there for him. And in that way, Uncle Phil was the dad that we all wanted. And Lou was the dad that we all got. Yeah, that was basically what he was trying to say. And I remember when Will looked at him before he hugged him, which you can see the picture, he said, how comes he don't want me? Yeah, how comes he don't? That was so powerful. And there was no music. If you go back and watch that scene, there was actually no music in that scene whatsoever. It was quiet. And it was in a way that it allowed you to get the impact of how powerful that scene was. And it just brings you to tears. It is such a beautiful and powerful scene. And just them putting the pictures in there, oh my God, brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Writing rhymes, make tapes daily. Fresh Prince make the babes crazy. Rest in peace to James Avery. Even when the streets call me corny, I still ain't never let the hate break me. I just wanted to respect first. I still ain't never letting fame change me. New me, but I'm old school. Big Willie on the Pro Tool. Still fresh and I'm so smooth. I still got on my old shoes. I give Jada 1,000 kisses, ain't nothing changed since '02. Martin Lawrence get a rose too. He a legend and a go-to. Man, I love how you break the rules. Pushing limits and you make it cool. Joyner Lucas wasn't made to lose. You a legend and a make it too. What a beauty, my life's a movie. I swear I'm only on take two. All my kids turned out great, and I know your son gonna be great too.
So again, that part, guys, is just Will alluding to great parenting with his kids. It is the reason why they turned out great. And he's saying that Joyner Lucas's son is going to turn out great as well, because the fact that Joyner's used Will as inspiration and he's taken those steps of wisdom and what Will's done in his life, he's hoping that can pour over to Joyner. And he knows that his kids are going to be good just because of that. And it's just, look, how many people, I was talking about this the other day, how many people get to be and act and sing with the people who's inspired them? Not many. I remember when that film Cinderella with Brandy and Whitney Houston was happening, and she had always talking about Whitney being her biggest inspiration, and she got to wear that, and that's really important in some people growing up. But man, I tell you, this really hits home.
What a beauty, my life's a movie. I swear I'm only on take two. All my kids turned out great, and I know your son gonna be great too. Brick by brick, building a wall that no one could break. Flip by flip, glad I could help so you could be.
So building a wall that no one. So this is about the legacy, building an impenetrable legacy. So he's talking about building by brick, and this is his diligence of work in the industry and how he's been able to build a career that prospers today. And he's saying that because he wants Joyner to understand that success comes just from incremental growth. We hear so many kids nowadays. I talk about it all the time to my wife, Lisa, and all these kids that want to say, yeah, I want 1 million subscribers and I want to make $1 million and I want to do this and I want to do that. What from us as the older generation, what we're saying to these kids is, what you should be focusing on is not getting 1 million, but just getting 100 subscribers, then getting 1,000 subscribers, then getting 10,000 subscribers, then 100,000 subscribers. That's how you get to 1 million. You don't get to 1 million just by saying, I want 1 million subscribers. It doesn't work that way. So and again, we're going back to that brick by brick. Yeah, it is incremental success and planning that will bring you to the point where you're going to prosper with all the work that you're doing. Right now, too many people want it now and they want it quickly. And unfortunately, that's not the road to success. So it's really important that Will reiterates this point in terms of how to build a successful role model.
No wall that no one could break. Flip by flip, glad I could help so you could be straight. And life's a trip, but who can relate? The legends are gone, but it ain't too late to give them a rose and carry the grace, cause not every hero is wearing a cape. I'm feeling like Will, I feel like a prince, I'm feeling myself.
It's just rocking, man, just rocking.
Don't know how it feels. I wanted to flex, they told me to chill. I'm making a flip, my life is a flip.
So guys, absolutely brilliant. And as I said, he closes out by saying it's never too late. So the whole thing about it's never too late is, if you're a parent and you've abandoned your children are still there. Your children are still growing, but they're growing without your wisdom and input. So it's never too late for you to try and make the effort to come back and be that parent that you need to be in order to safeguard your children's education and their growth. So even on the outro, he's still hitting it hard. Now guys, that's it from me, man. Let me know what you think of the tune. I know the tune's been out for about a month and we've been hearing a lot of feedback from people in the US, but this is some feedback from somebody in the UK. And listen, people over here were still inspired by Will and his growth and his story. So I just wanted you to hear the perspective from someone who lives in the UK of how this song just touches everybody worldwide. So listen, that's it from me, man. If you like this video, subscribe to the channel, give me a like, and peace. I'm out. Nice one, guys.